guys, it's Sakina, your eco-friendly hostess with the mostest, and I am back with a new video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My channel is all about living an eco-luxury lifestyle that is sustainable and in harmony with Mother Nature. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about something that might be a little bit controversial, but it's been on my heart for a while. I'd say for at least a year or two, and I finally had time to really jot down some ideas and just really get my thoughts together about it so that I could present it to you guys in the most succinct way possible. So today's video, we're gonna be talking about the what I would call America's misplaced obsession with luxury. And you might be wondering, didn't you just say that you're like the eco-luxury sustainability hostess with the mostest? I did, and I'm gonna explain what that means to me, and I'm gonna talk about what I think about America's misplaced obsession with luxury in this video, because the two are very, very different, completely different. And you know, they're different, however, at some point in your life, at some point in your evolution, the two might intertwine and you might cross over to the other side of luxury, which we'll talk about further in this video. But I just kind of want to give you a preface of what I'm going to speak about, and hopefully this kind of starts getting some wheels turning in other people's heads. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this to see, am I really off base with this? Am I being too hard on myself and my upbringing and where I come from and where I am now? I'm very, very curious to see what other people have to say about this topic. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so where did this idea of Americans having this misplaced obsession with luxury? And I use the word obsession because I feel like ever since I can remember, there are certain staples in life that were deemed normal, or what we should chase after to achieve, or what everyone else had. Just these different items and things, luxuries, what I've come to know them as, that should be commonplace in an American household, because America is such a advanced, rich country, such a rich nation. So everyone should be able to afford these things, unless you're in the lower classes or you're poor. I was blessed, very, very blessed to have parents who did want me to experience things that they didn't experience, or just to experience things, like I said, that are commonplace in the American staple, like the staple family or just life experiences. And I didn't complain as a child, because of course, as a kid, we want everything we can possibly get, right? We're asking for the new toys, the new clothes every single school year. We're asking for a lot of different things. And of course, as a kid, I'm not paying for any of it. I'm not going to work busting my butt, 40, 50, 60 hours a week to sustain a household of 5. That's not something I had to do. All I had to do was ask and receive, and that's it. And it didn't dawn on me until much recently, and it's sad. I'm sad to say this at my age that I am, that I'm finally seeing the value of money and energy and time. And I feel like I learned way too late, and it just saddens me, because I feel like I wasted so much valuable time and money on things that are just not important. Things that are not important, but that that never set me up for success, and that don't really truly bring value to your life. And now I have a new view of luxury, and I feel like I've lived a very luxury lifestyle that I couldn't afford, because I don't even have the things that I would consider a necessity, or not even a necessity, but what I would prefer to have at this age. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video. And like I said, feel free to jump into the comments and correct me if you think I'm wrong in my thinking, or if you agree. But I'm so ready to dive into this. So, a few of the luxuries that I noticed as a child, like as an adult now, I'm looking back on things. I'm like, you know what? I really didn't need that. I really wish my parents would not have spent money on that and they would have saved it for themselves to invest in their retirement or, putting money into, redoing their home or purchasing a new home, whatever their dreams were. I wish they would have saved that money to, put towards that, because I think one thing that I lacked and that I think a lot of people lack in America is good financial literacy. And they don't teach us that in high school. They don't teach us that in middle school. And we literally don't get that kind of teaching unless A, our parents teach us, or B, we go out and we teach ourselves by reading books, going to different seminars and learning ourselves. And I think that's it's a huge disservice to the American public and citizens, because we live in a capitalist society and capitalism is all about making money. So that should be one of the first things we're learning in schools, business skills, because America is all about money. It's all about money. So I feel like we're learning about topics that don't really pertain to society as a whole and how society works, and we're being set up to fail. So some of the things that I feel were considered privileges and luxuries that we really take for granted, especially as young kids, young teenagers in school, are things like getting new clothes for the school year every single year, and getting endless electronics and toys. My dad told me the other day about one of my cousins who each of their children have their own Xbox. And he was like surprised, and I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. We grew up and we got the PlayStation, and we were able to upgrade to the PlayStation 3 whenever that came out. So we were like, we had the toys, we had the electronics, we had the computer. And I don't think we got too many crazy luxuries when it comes to electronics. I think kids nowadays get even more, which is even crazy. Like, it's mind-boggling for me to think of someone who has an Xbox for every child. Not that I should judge anyone's finances and how they spend their money, but I just know that they aren't. I would consider that a luxury. I would consider that an extreme luxury, but none of my business. Another thing that I would say that kids and teenagers take for granted is dining out as a family. Dining out as a family is incredibly expensive. And I know this because I dine out alone and I'm single. And when I get takeout or if I go dine out alone, like, it's expensive. Like, having to do that and selflessly give that money over and over to pay for your family, everyone to eat. Like, we take for granted the little things that our parents do for us, that when we're adults and we're having to do that for ourselves, we're like, ooh, like, wow, my parents they spent so much money on me. Like, I think about it now. So these are just some of the things as a child that I realize now that, whoa, that's a luxury. I don't think that is necessary for us to go out to eat as a family once a week, twice a week. I think that's something that should be done maybe once a month, once every other month. And I'm talking about dining in a restaurant. Obviously ordering pizza and things like that, or takeout, picking it up to go is a little bit easier because, you're not all sitting in the restaurant ordering drinks and desserts and things like that. You can manage how much you spend when you order out or order in. And I just think about it now. I'm like, if I was in my parents' shoes at that time, like, I just would try to not dine out as much as possible. I don't know. I was blessed. We went on family vacations. We traveled out of state a few times for family vacations, which was really nice. We often went to theme parks and things like that. So those are all things that I look back on now and I think about how much that costs. I'm like, that's a luxury. It's truly, truly, truly a luxury. And I'm so appreciative that I was able to experience those things. And having experienced those and having been given that, it really did affect my young adulthood. So as a young adult, some things that I would consider luxuries that I did spend money on is, when I got my first job as a 16-year-old, all my money went towards clothes and food. I spent so much money on clothes, you guys. I could have probably had a really good down payment. And it was all cheap clothes too, not even the good quality clothes that I purchased now. It was all that cheap Forever 21 stuff, the Wet Seal, and what was another store? You know, Wet Seal, Charlotte Russe, like, meaning every single week you were going with your girlfriends to the mall, back when people actually shopped at the mall, and you were shopping for clothes, and clothes, shoes. And I don't even do nearly as much shopping now, just because I value my money and time so much more, and I shop for high quality pieces so that I don't have to shop very often. And I look back on that, I'm like, man, as much as I shopped, I probably could have had a really nice down payment on a house at a younger age, and just been so much further in my life with some of the things that I wish that I had now that I don't. And that trickled on into my early to mid 20s, where I went on one of my big things was travel. I love travel, and I want to travel more in my life. I've put a pause on that to focus on really getting my finances and other parts of my life in order first. So I want to get in order in other areas before I do any more traveling. But one luxury that I did was I took a trip to Peru, and it was an amazing experience. Like, I don't regret this at all, guys. So I'm not saying this to say don't do it. I'm just saying we really need to rethink how we're spending our money, because it's affecting our decisions as an adult. And we're saying that we can't afford things when we truly can. It's just that the choices we're making, we're saying that this is more important than this. And I'll give you the example in a second. But I went to Peru. It was a 2-week trip, trekking trip, backpacking trip through my school, my university that I went to. And it was completely guided. We had one master's student. She was a master's student, so she went as part of her master's program. And it was other students and a couple people who weren't students as well who signed up to take the trip. And I'm sure it was over close to $3,000 for me to take that trip. At that time, for me, that was a lot of money, and I was still a student at the time. And so it was a big splurge for me. Well worth it. One of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had. But I look back on it and think, wow, that was a luxury. That's literally a luxury to be able to, and the level of planning and everything that went into that trip, that's a luxury. Do I regret it? No. Could I have waited? Yes. And that was not my first trip that was my first trip out of the country. And then I took another trip to Ecuador, which was it was great, just as great. Another 2-week trip. This time it wasn't guided. This time I went with a group of people that I actually met on my Peru trip, and we kind of half planned it, half winged it. And it taught me a lot, because it wasn't the same dynamic as it was through when it was planned through the school. So it taught me a lot about people and humans and how fickle they can be. But it also, looking back on it, that was a luxury, and that was my second out of the country trip that I spent thousands of dollars on. Don't regret it. Great experience. I haven't traveled outside the country since, but once again, another luxury. And I bring this up to say that a lot of people in my age group, I'm a millennial, a lot of people who are in the millennial generation are opting out of not having kids or delaying having children because they're saying that it's too expensive. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of things that we do in our society that we spend a lot of money on, and it's truly a luxury. Uber Eats, anybody? DoorDash, that's a luxury. To be able to sit at your desk, at your couch, and have food delivered to you is a complete and total luxury. I don't care who you are. I have seen people who are completely broke and behind on rent choose to do DoorDash or Uber Eats, yet they're late on rent. How are you late on rent and you have money for DoorDash or Uber Eats? Please make it make sense. It doesn't. That's a luxury. That is not a necessity. And it speaks to how spoiled we are in our society. We want to complain about not having money for certain things and for certain milestones in life, like starting a family, yet we are addicted to fast, easy luxury experiences. And I call it luxury because it's something that someone who I would consider to be wealthy, someone who's making 6 figures or more by themselves, or maybe they are a multimillionaire, I think that's something that they can afford, something that they can fit into their budgets. But if you don't have an emergency fund, if you're late on your rent, if you have debt, I don't really think those are things that you should be spending your money on. And I'm not saying this to judge anyone, because I look back on my life. Like I said, I'm looking back on the things that I've done, and I'm like, I have a car note. I should have a paid off car. I could have a paid off car, but yet I wanted to go to Peru. Yet I wanted to go to no, I didn't go to Costa Rica yet. It's coming. I wanted to go to Ecuador. I wanted to eat out. Oh, I wanted to eat out, and I ate out a lot. I would say in my mid to late 20s, early 30s, that was my biggest splurge, is dining out. And I dine out at nice places. I wanted to go to the nicest, hippest restaurants, and I've been to a lot of them. Some were dates, some were me taking myself out, some were me going out with a girlfriend and going to grab drinks in a quick bite. And living that Sex in the City type lifestyle, you know, where it's normal for the single young ladies to go out and get a cocktail and drink and talk about men and dating and all that. And that's all lovely and hunky-dory, but it was not actually moving me in the direction of where I wanted to be. And that's why I consider it a luxury, because it's truly something that's not necessarily bettering me. It's just something to really kind of luxuriate in and to de-stress after a long week of work. And I think we all need those things that can help us de-stress and decompress from a stressful week, but we really have to do better. And I feel like there's this word that older generations use a lot, and it's called grit. I think that so many of us the younger generations, we don't have the same grit that people in the past used to. And there's no way that I can compare, you know, the work ethic of someone older to someone younger, when I've seen how easily people drop out of work because it's too hard, or it's challenging at some point, or it gets stressful. And I'm not saying you should, you know, work yourself into the ground. Not at all. I think we need to have healthy work environments and protect our mental health and our physical health. But I can see the difference between someone who's just lazy and someone who's been spoiled and who just does not want to work at all, and someone who is genuinely working, doing their best, giving their best at the end of the day, and still dealing with a lot of stress. So there's a big difference, huge difference. Reflecting on this, I'm able to see like areas in my life that I definitely want to make changes to, and areas that I have actually made the change. Like, I'm not making this video because I want to make the change. I'm making this video because I've already made the change, and I've really put a lot of thought into how different I used to be and how much more intentional I am with my time, my money, my energy, everything. Because as I get older, one thing that happens when you get older is you realize how short life is. I've lost so many friends, either just they're not friends anymore with me, or I've actually lost them, like they've died. And it makes me see, wow, like at some point in my life, that person was an integral part of my life. We spent time together, we talked daily, and they're gone. And it just makes me see, wow, life is short, and I really have to, I want to just like quantum leap in every area of my life and just compound as much as I can, because I'm not getting any more time. Everything is happening now. And so at the end of the day, I have this option to look at, you know, the money that I'm making, the time that I have, and I have to think, is this going to move me towards this goal? If it's not, I got to cut it out. And so my life has really become so simple, and I'm really focusing on just making the best of what I have. And where I would normally complain about something, I'm just like, you know what? I'm blessed. I have my life. I have my health. I have income. I have these goals that I'm getting closer and closer and closer to every single day that I stay disciplined. And I'm building up my capacity to be disciplined and have that grit to dig in and be uncomfortable for a little while in order to have a bigger payoff in the future, which is something that I didn't have in the past. I still have my moments where I get antsy and I'm anxious because I want something to happen already and I'm tired of waiting. But for the most part, a lot of the anxiety that comes with wanting to be somewhere that I'm not yet has dissipated a lot. And I'm seeing major results in my life because of it. And let me tell you, the bank account is looking a lot nicer these days, and I'm very thankful to God about it. But I want to share with you guys some of the different changes that I've made to get to this point. So I call myself the eco luxury sustainability hostess with the mostest because to me, the true meaning of luxury to me is, something that is incredibly comfortable, but that's relative to every person. And I know that my idea of luxury is going to change as my station in life changes. So for now, my luxuries are different than what they were in the past when I spent my money frivolously and what they will be in the future. So right now, luxury to me is making sure that I still spend money on healthy food. Like I do not skimp when it comes to food. Even though I have a food budget, I do not cut corners when it comes to food. I eat well. I don't dine out at nice restaurants anymore. I haven't done that in a while, but I eat well. And I make sure that I'm healthy. My body, my health is something that I invest in. I'll spend money to go to a fitness class, if I need to. Like, those are the types of things that I consider luxury. A fitness class is a luxury because when I didn't have money, guess what I did? I worked out at the park and I did calisthenics in the park, completely free. Didn't cost them a penny. But you get bored of that and you want to add variety, but boredom is a price we pay when you don't have money. But I do have money, and I do have money coming in, so I do invest in, I like to use ClassPass. ClassPass allows me to try a different variety of different fitness studios, and I'll do Pilates and yoga or take a dance class here or there. But it's something that is an investment because it's getting me to where I want to be in my future, which is healthy, loving my body, loving the way I feel in my body. And so that's a luxury that I spend money on now. Along with healthy food, I always make sure that I have healthy snacks and that I eat meals that are full of vegetables, that's not fried and laden in fat. Like, I do make sure that I spend money on healthy food and fitness. I would like to challenge people to rethink, what is something in your life that that you could do without, and that if you did without it, you would not only be able to save more money, but maybe that money that you save, you can put towards that big investment that you really want. I'm always inspired by young people. I'm always inspired by young people who have learned this at a very young age, who have achieved financial literacy at a young age, and they have their first homes purchased in their early 20s, or maybe they have their own businesses. That's the kind of people, those are the type of people that inspire me, because it's like you were taught well and you did well with the knowledge that you were given. Something else that I think that is a luxury that people take for granted is getting a new iPhone every single time that a new phone comes out. We have normalized, upgrading our phones, our computers, our TVs. Every time the newest thing comes out, we have to run out to the store and get it. And it's not for us, guys. It's not for you if you are not a multimillionaire. It is not for you if you make less than $500K a year. It is not for you if you make less than $200K a year. Like, literally, think of how rich your life could be if you were debt-free, you owned a home, and all you paid was taxes on it and repairs. You owned your car and you didn't have to have bill collectors. You didn't have a car note. You had money set aside in your children's college fund. You had a business. Your children have businesses. Like, those are the types of things I think about now. And I realize it takes living well below your means to get there. One thing that you can learn from the whole quiet luxury, quiet money trend is what it means to even be old money. Like, those people have investments in real estate that they can pass on to their children. They buy high quality clothing that they can pass on to their children, jewelry that they can pass on to their children. So they're not shopping out. They're not out shopping a ton. What we see on TV, like the Kardashian lifestyle and the Real Housewives lifestyle, those lifestyles are not real or sustainable. Look at freaking Kim Zolciak and her husband. Not to bring anyone else's drama into this, but look at them. They're you know, their house is foreclosed on. They live a luxury lifestyle. We all think they have money, but their house is being foreclosed on. We are constantly looking at other people's lifestyles, not realizing how close they are to being homeless, or how much they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And a lot of us are chasing friendships that validate this obsession with luxury and money that we don't have. I'm sorry if I'm bursting bubbles, but I just want to be real with you guys. Another luxury I think that most people can't afford is going out to bars. I think I mentioned that with the restaurants, but going out to have alcohol multiple times per week, monthly manicures and pedicures. That's something that I had to give up last year. But I have found a great alternative. I actually got my first pedicure for the first time in over a year, which was amazing. I realized I can't do my own pedicures and they don't look nearly as good as when I get them done professionally. So that is a splurge that is budgeted into my budget. And I will get a pedicure every month now if I need to. But my nails, I do my own nails now. And I actually think I did a video talking about Nail Boo. That's my dip powder kit that I get. And they sell these online. You can get them on Amazon for much cheaper. And I have done so now. But you can do your own dip powder nail, get the nail drill and bits and do it. And you be looking good. This is my natural nail, and sometimes I do fake nails, and I glue the nail extension and then do the dip powder, and it comes out like I went to the nail salon. It's not as crisp as the nail salon, but it's pretty close. I've been doing it enough that I can get my nails looking really, really good fairly easily. And it really is so much cheaper. Let me tell you, it's so much cheaper. So I'm going from spending like $40 on a manicure every single month to nothing. Like I bought the kit, I've refilled maybe the top coat a few times, which is like $7 for the top coat. I bought some new dip powders, which was like $9. Like it's really inexpensive, guys. Highly recommended for the ladies. And then professional hairstyling. Back when I used to get my hair done professionally more often, I mean, getting your hair braided from a hair braider can cost you over $100. That's like maybe 60 to 80 for the actual braids, and then you got to go buy the hair for the braids or the sew and weave or whatever it is you're getting. I started wearing wigs and doing my own hair, and I don't have to spend any of that money. I mean, if you're gonna do wigs, yes, you do have to invest in your wigs, but wigs can be worn multiple times, so you're getting so much more out of your money when you wear wigs. If you do your own hair at home, you just have to buy your own hair supplies. It's just so much cheaper, and there's some people I know who get their hair done monthly at a salon. Here's the thing. I don't want to judge anyone for what their luxury spending is on and how the little luxuries they enjoy, but when you do all of that and that's your lifestyle and you have to maintain that, that's a lot of money. And I've been there. Like I said, I've been there, and I could live like that, but what I realized is that I didn't have enough money left over at the end of the month to really make big changes in my life. And so I've scaled back on spending, and I'm just like, I'm making my money work for me now, and I'm paying attention to how I'm spending my money so much more. I'm very intentional about it. So this video really, like, my idea behind the video was I just wanted to kind of bring up some truths that I'm witnessing. And I think it's sad that some people feel that they can't afford to have families, because I'm a big family person. I'm all about family, and I just can't see myself sacrificing having a family over if I can afford Netflix, or if I can't do DoorDash, or if I can't go shopping every week and get a new bag every month. Like, I would choose to have a family over those little luxuries. I'm not saying you have to choose, but depending on where you are socioeconomically or economically, you have to make sacrifices. And if you want that lifestyle, you have to work for it. And we need to be more accountable. with how we're spending our money and the things that we take for granted. And then maybe we'll start to see, oh, we actually do have the money. It's just, we just would rather spend it somewhere else. So don't say you can't afford it when you can totally afford it. You just have chosen not to be able to afford it because you've chosen to get that whatever material possession it is that you covet, that you absolutely have to have, instead of setting aside that money for family planning or purchasing that home or, you know, whatever it is. And you don't have to listen to me. Look at other people in other countries who live much more simple lifestyles, people who don't have cars. America is such a car dependent country, and there are people here who have 2, 3, 4 cars. Like, why do you need so many vehicles? There's people in other countries who have 1 car for the entire family, and it's like a little hatchback, like, and they're making it work. They're riding their bikes. It's just, I'm hoping with this video that I'm challenging you to think outside the box and really think, do I really need the items that I covet so much? And why do I feel that I need it? Is it because I'm looking to impress someone, or is it because it makes my quality of life better? And that's really what a luxury is. A luxury is something that makes your quality of life better. It makes it more comfortable. It's just another level of comfort. And some of those luxuries are great, but we really need to, I think we need to take a second look on what we feel like we need and what is a luxury, and kind of put our priorities in order. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. If you would like to learn more about how to reprogram your brain to attract more wealth and abundance so that you can afford those luxuries, then I highly suggest you check out the video above, because it's going to teach you how to put systems in place to build a wealthy, abundant life and be able to maintain it and not be like living paycheck to paycheck. And if you want to know where you are right now regarding, like, what is your program? What is your mental program? Are you programmed for poverty? Are you programmed for abundance? Like, where are you at mentally when it comes to money, wealth, and abundance? I have a free quiz that you can take. It's 10 questions. I'll link it down in the description box, but it's just a fun quiz so that you can kind of get an idea of where you are so that you can start to make those changes to get where you want to be. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and of course subscribe so that you can see more video and content like today's video. I will see you guys next time. Bye.